By the summer 1996, we felt we had enough costumes and props collected and put together, and we had just rented a studio space where we were able to work on a lot of the stuff, and we had enough of the main actors cast that we were able to start filming the opening scenes of the movie where we beamed down to the planet.
Natural selection. Scene 2, shot 3. Take 1.
We started filming in the summer of 1996 at the river flats just across the Mississippi River from downtown St. Paul. Filming would continue for the next 2 years until about mid-1998.
No welcoming committee. And no visible structures. So you consider yourselves superior to all other forms of life on your world, yet you live underground for fear of upsetting nature's delicate balance.
Before filming a scene, we would usually schedule a number of rehearsals so that we could block out where the actors would stand and what camera angles we wanted to use. These rehearsals would last an hour or two and would take place a few days or weeks before we actually did the real shoot.
So as not to disturb the delicate balance of nature on our planet's surface.
You must hold the plant and animal life on your world in high regard.
On the contrary, Captain, we do not. On Andoria, like...
Just keep going, bud. Just videotape.
During those early rehearsals, we were finding our characters and getting used to reacting with the other actors, as well as using the props and becoming familiar with them, so it looked like we actually knew what we were doing with these tools of the 23rd century. We videotaped a lot of our rehearsals, setting up shots, testing costumes and props, and using actors' rehearsals as technical rehearsals as well. Some of our cameramen had never used the video camera before, much less held a boom mic, or in our case, a pole with a stage mic duct taped to it.
Action.
Captain, on this talk!
Some of our earlier rehearsals were really rough, but as time went on, we got to the point where we eventually were rehearsing the scene almost exactly as the scene would be in the final film.
Commander, there's a call from the surface. It's the captain.
Harris here, Captain.
Our beam down coordinates seem to have been correct. Maintain standard orbit and stand by for routine check-in.
Very well, Captain.
Garvik out. Okay.
No use. Let's try the other way.
We're trapped!
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Governor Kintimus. Welcome to Andoria, Captain Jimm.
Cut.
As far as the directing went, we collaborated as much as we could. A lot of times we shot scenes where I was in front of the camera and he wasn't, or vice versa.
When you're listening to her, you need to kind of cock your head, like you're trying to.
Oh, I see. I'm looking around her head and at the screen too.
Oh, okay.
No, that's what I should do. Like
Yeah.
at the screen being.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Should we have him say his first line right before he lunges at me? Should it be
Yeah,
up
well,
to your
well, I'm
ship?
coming after you, I guess.
Well, I mean, when you lunge at me with a knife and rip my shirt, and then I'll like do my
I'm coming
reply
after
after
you,
I'm on the
and
ground.
You should have beamed up to your ship.
If we do it that way, it'll kind of tie the different scenes together better.
Let's try it.
Okay.
I would say probably 85% of the time we tried to be co-directors, myself and my brother.
Which way are we walking? This way?
You're gonna hurry off that way, yeah. And probably, well, we tried to do that the whole time, and 85% of the time it worked, and probably about 15% of the time there was tension. A lot of people who I had talked to really thought me and my brother were crazy for trying to both be producers and both be directors, and that we were going to try to work with each other on trying to make this vision happen. Because, and like I said, there was probably 15% of the time when it was really hard to do.
Maybe it is a mess. We should do it anyways, though, just so we can get it done right.
But anyways, that's only half the scene, Jim, because then you gotta come
Right,
around.
All right.
You need to follow us
Well,
back.
talk to those guys and talk to these
Okay,
guys, and
let
I'll
me
get the
talk to
sound
Jeff
set.
first.
It's not supposed to blink, is it?
Yeah, I
Should
wanted it to blink.
Should the red be off when it's blinking? Because when it's there?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make sense?
No, it's better with more blinking light. Walk on to Mr. D'Agostino and beam him up. Have a medical team with the stretcher.
As far as our directing style goes, we really were just trying to make it look like original series Star Trek. And so we just were kind of developing our style kind of as we went along.
So there's a 9-foot creature standing here with its mouth like this, and I'm just gonna go, Captain, let's
No,
talk.
don't just do that, but don't move back out of the shadow. We need you to stay in the shadow. Okay?
Okay, it seems kind of funny though. I don't think that's what a person would do, standing there and just stand there and yell. But, alright.
Now you're confused, Alexa.
Well, here's what you can do rather than back up like that. If you want to stand here and say, Captain, a lift whore, and then turn like this, because you're going to turn like this to run. So, the Captain, a lift whore, and then turn the other way. But don't move significantly forward. I mean, all you can do is just spinning movements here for this shot.
Well, the shadow would move off of me though if I start to move, so I don't know. Alright, I'll do it that way. And there were times when we completely disagreed on how something should be done. I remember early on in building a set, we had a couple of wall frames set up, and we started thinking about how this particular scene could be filmed. And I said, oh, you know, we could do this, and then we could show this shot and do it. And then Jim said, no, 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 it should be this way. We should film it like this and like this. And before you know it, we were having a knockdown, drag out yelling match at each other over something that wasn't going to be filmed for months. And I think as it turned out, we ended up building that set completely different by the time it was all built. And I don't even think the thing we were arguing about was an issue, but on that particular day, we got really ticked about that.
No people or buildings.
No, my people have always built their dwellings underground, so as not to disturb the delicate workings of nature on the planet's surface.
You must hold the plant and animal life on your world in very high regard.
On the contrary, Captain, we do not.
Let's do this again, because somebody's got to have a mic on him all the time. He needs to walk through here.
Well, the problem is I'm going to walk right in front of the camera then.
Well, yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to walk from that spot to right here. See this dot?
Yeah, before you were on the other
You
green
got to
dot.
walk from this dot.
I'm afraid I'm going to get right in front of the camera while I
You
was trying to
won't.
do a
We
close-up
lined
of
it
you.
up. We lined it up already. So
Okay.
So when we were shooting outdoors, we tried to shoot all the scenes that we would need in those locations. And so we didn't really go chronologically according to how the script went. We would jump around in the script depending upon what location we were at or what sets we had available, and film everything that we needed to film on those locations and sets at the time.
Another thing too, when you're doing the shot, Jeff, don't worry so much about getting the tops of the arches on as using that rule of thirds that I told you about, getting like people's eye level. Turn around that way when Charles walks by. Yeah. Okay, turn around that way. Like that. When you walk by, you're kind of turning like this because there's not a lot of room right here. We have to pretend like there's about an extra 2 or 3 feet right there. So just walk straight through.
When it came time to film the movie and to figure out a shooting schedule, there really was no good way to work out a schedule that we could tell people they had to adhere to. So what we would have to do is call up everyone involved, which would be anybody who was in front of the camera and anybody who we could convince to come out and help work as crew, and try to arrange it around everyone's schedule to be out there at the same time on the same day. And sometimes it didn't work out, but we would get out there and just shoot what we could, and there were some days where we would run out of time and we wouldn't be able to shoot everything we had planned, and so people would have to come back for another day of shooting at that point. So there really wasn't a really tight schedule for shooting. We just had to, because we're working with volunteers, shoot around people's schedules.
I am unfamiliar with this particular entrance, Captain. However, you are correct. The complex is peculiarly empty.
Simple yes or no will suffice the time. Mr. Cuddy, how far underground are we?
My target reads we're 1,500 meters below the surface.
Garvik to Exeter. While we were filming, we would often do several takes, and then we would sometimes take a break and review the tape to make sure we got what we needed before we would move on to the next shot.
Mr. Diacosta, you take point, repeated, you welcome back.
Yes, sir.
Cut to outer space where you see the X-ray get a couple of hits, run the torpedoes. Then we cut back inside the ship. And on the lower deck, some crewmen get jostled around. Then we cut back to the bridge where you guys are recovering from an aftershock.
Say center, and then you guys catch your balance again, and then go on to wherever you're going to go. So everybody will kind of pause,
Left, right side.
pause to catch.
Right,
Yeah.
left,
Okay.
Right, left side.
Right, left, center.
When enough people get in the hall, I'll call right, and it'll go over here and kind of keep leaning this way like you're trying to catch your balance. Then I'll go left, and you go over to this way, try to catch your balance. Then I'll go center. Everybody regain your balance, and then go off camera wherever you were going to go.
Okay, good idea.
Okay. Ready? And action. Right. Left. Center.
It's so difficult with so many people.
There's kind of a lot of people there in the middle.
There's a lot of people and you can't touch the wall, so it's like.
Do you want to try that thing one more time?
Let's try that same thing one more time.
Same thing one more time.
Now, I know it might be
Sorry,
hard,
it won't
but
happen this time.
try
We
to
still have the same people coming out first,
Yeah.
so these two go out first.
Ready? Action. 1, 2, recover. Is that?
Commander, what's happening up there?
It's all right, sir. Our deflector screens are holding.
There were times when we didn't see eye to eye on certain things, and we just had to figure out how we were going to work with each other and compromise. And really, that was one of the lessons I think that we both learned on a project where there's more than one chief. That there's got to be room for compromise, and you've got to be willing to say, "This is how I want it, and this is how the other person wants it." So, how are we going to meet each other halfway? What are we willing to give? And what are we willing to say, no, it has to be this way?
About 95% of the movie was shot on SVHS. Camera that got the most usage was Panasonic AG456. The lights that we used were just store-bought clamp lights like you'll find at Target or Home Depot. Then of course we were able to tape gels over the lamps to give us some mood lighting and to paint the walls various colors and stuff like that.
I think I thought of the name Lithtor because I'd just seen Jurassic Park and they have the velociraptors in there, and I wanted something that sounded like a raptor, but that was an Andorian monster. So
yeah, I think Jim did come up with the name, and I think between myself and Jim, we came up with the idea that hey, if there's going to be this dinosaur creature on Andoria, then it has to have antennas because Andorians have antennas, and if you're going to have this alien lizard monster, then what the heck, you should have antennas. So I remember that, and I remember when we went to Jeff, we said, well, we want it to be like a dinosaur, and we want it to have antennas, and we want it to be somewhere like the size of like a velociraptor or something. And so that was what we gave him to work with. Based upon that, he did the sketch.
we had a sketch already, I think, from a storyboard. I think I did a sketch on a storyboard, and mine looked more kind of like a Tyrannosaurus or something with antennas. And I think we actually had colored it in blue, like the Andorians.
Yeah.
But then when Jeff did his sketch, it turned out purple.
Okay, on action, you try to move forward. You start trying to move forward on action, and then as soon as he starts to move forward, then the foot will step down on it.
Before we
Foot
do
will
this,
come
just
into the shot.
look at me for a second. This is how much movement I'm going to do. I'm going to start right here. I'm going to go up to there.
Okay. Well, I guess on action, start moving the foot into the shot too, because you'll see him moving and the foot come in at the same time. All right. Positions and action. Cut. Okay. That's all. That was good right there. We can do another one if you want, but that one was.
Let's do another one.
Have as many options.
Let's do one more and then I want to watch it.
All right.
Clean.
You like that reaction there, Keith?
Yeah. Dismayed.
The fearing for his life, Bafuzalek. I'm afraid for my life.
Just waiting for that police cruiser to come rolling back here again.
Let's beat him with the lift.
What are you guys doing? You got any kind of permit to be out here in blue makeup? Let me see your papers.
Your papers, please.
I am an Andorian from the planet Andoria. I did not realize that it was illegal for me to be an alien.
We could tell him he has diplomatic immunity as the Andorian ambassador.
Yeah, you'll be in the shadow.
Will it be funny having it from this angle? Put it back on the thing. It actually does look better from back here because it's unlit from that side.
Yeah.
Maybe you should try, I don't know, getting my hand and stuff in there?
No.
Hold on. All right.
There was no funding, and the only money that was coming in was the money that came out of my paycheck at the end of the month after I paid rent, and Josh's paycheck as well. Because that's the way the movie was being financed, it took us a long time. We just did it gradually, a little at a time, and kept plugging at it. Finally, 7 years after we started, we were done.
Oh yeah, gotta get it. We must be too far down for my communicator signal. Let's do that again. I forgot my
The
line.
ship's calling you, Captain.
It's like...
Walking down the hall, take 3.
Sorry, Captain. The complex is peculiarly empty.
Simple yes or no will suffice, Lieutenant. Mr. Cuddy, how far underground are we?
My tricorder reads we're 1,500 meters below the surface.
Come in. You want us to try it again?
Yeah. And we didn't step
Maybe I
out
should
very
take
far.
my batteries out.
The other thing is, Jim, you didn't step. You can step up. a little
Yeah,
bit
I
further.
forgot about that. All right. You put that in your pocket.
A lot of the outdoor shots were filmed in public parks and other public places, and so we weren't the only people out there. There were joggers, and one day we were out there and there was a class full of fossil hunters as well, and we would get a lot of strange looks and some comments from people sometimes. Then a lot of people would just ignore us too. Like, I don't know, it's kind of weird when they just would walk by like it was nothing unusual. It was more strange than when they would make comments at us. In this park where we were, Pease Park in Austin, Texas, a lot of people walk their dogs without leashes there, and this dog caught sight of this Klingon. Trey was in full makeup and costume, and the dog saw the Klingon and just ran at him, barking. And fortunately, once it got to him, it didn't really attack. It just kind of sniffed him, I think, and then went away. But it was pretty funny at the time.
I don't guess they like...
Comforts D'Agasta. Take 3. Quiet on the set. And action.
You're smiling the whole time, Frick.
I don't want to have to slap heads here.
Okay.
Slate another one. Bafuzlek comforts D'Agasta with black eye. Take 4.
On the days when there was a lot of horseplay, probably a lot of those times were some of the earlier shoots where people were really enthusiastic and gung-ho.
Give it all she's got, Captain!
And then probably toward the end of the shooting, people just were trying to get done and getting a little bit worn out with this whole thing, having to come back on their weekends and put on a Star Trek suit. So that's why in some of the raw footage you see some horseplay going on in some scenes and not in others.
You myopic Klingon! Can't you even...
No, you are myopic Earth.
Just keep going.
I was talking to him.
I know.
A little bit here. Dun 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 dun.
Just check it. All right, same spot.
Did you pause the video?
No, it's all right.
Just let it go. Should be okay.
Okay.
Shoot the whole line. Or unless you want to pause it, or you're going to be a long time.
I just tape it because the gels are hanging out.
You ready for another practice?
Yep.
What?
You might as well try to do it for real, too.
Just do it.
Ready, this is the real one.
Just say take
Positions?
Positions.
Here's to swimming with no-legged women.
Warp speed!
Jim, tell us why the hell we're here. It's a Saturday night. What is it, October 12th?
Captain's log.
Captain's log, October 12th.
Oh, you're so dreamy.
There we go.
You are so f***ing nosy, I see.
And action. For what? Except we need Pat to put his costume back on and do 5 more close-ups.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
Really appreciate it.
Let me know around 2 weeks.
We don't know yet about contacting because I don't really know. But it's going to be in about 2 weeks. So that'll be the answer.
I want to see my Andorian.
Wee wee.